All right, I have 6:30. We'll go ahead and get started. I'll call the meeting to order. Ask for roll call, please.
Here.
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 I'm here. Here. Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
All right, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have minutes from the
Regular minutes. And special minutes.
special minutes isn't on there. All right, hold on. These two. All right, sorry about that. We got minutes from the regular meeting August 12th and special meeting August 19th.
I move for approval of the regular meeting minutes from August 12th and the special meeting minutes from August 19th.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second then to approve the minutes of the regular meeting and special meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign. All right. Welcome those in attendance tonight, those watching on our YouTube station as well. Thank you for joining us. We do not have anybody signed up for public comment, so we will go ahead and I'll ask for motion for adoption of the agenda.
Also move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second then to adopt the agenda this evening. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign. All right, moving right along. 8.1, high school overnight field trip requests.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to present on the overnight and out-of-state trips for most of the year. There will be some that are coming in. Part of that is some of our clubs just don't have dates yet. So for instance, Student Council and some of their events. I know Linda Dykstra, working with FCC LA, was working on some of those dates. So I'll be back to present, but hopefully a lot fewer than that. So like this here, green with yellow. I tried to break it down a couple different ways. So on the front page are the different athletic trips that are happening. Those typically are winter trips. So for instance, boys basketball will be going to UW-Stevens Point, wrestling going up to La Crosse, and then girls hockey will be up in Eagle River again. That's a trip that we typically make because there's only 22 girls hockey programs in the state, so they all try to play each other throughout the year. And if we're going to go all the way up to Eagle River, we're going to get a couple games in, not just one. So on the second page, you can see some of the events that Mark Lefebvre's put in for a cappella. They have some other field trips in there, but they didn't meet the overnight or out-of-state standard. But they take quite a few trips, and a lot of that is just competing with, really good talent. I think one of the other exciting things about Mark's trips is there are lessons that students can take to better themselves while there. So it's not just going and performing, it's also learning as well. So I think that's kind of a neat thing. And then for those who have been around a while, a lot of FFA trips with Mr. Gansky. A lot of these are the same trips they've always taken, but certainly wanted to get those on here as well. So I think there were 7 or 8 different trips that he has listed already. Again, they take a lot of trips. We got as many as we could now for the information he had. John Gansky's also stepped up to run our student council this year because he wasn't busy enough. So he'll be working with that group, and again, he's still waiting on some of the dates. Due to my leave, we were a little late to getting John signed up to student council, so we're working, we're speeding things up. John's done it before, so I have all the confidence in the world of him, but we just got to get some of those dates. And then Julie Schrader with DECA. She has her dates on there, and you can see the last one on there is the national tournament down in Orlando, which we've had students at the last couple of years. So we've been really proud of our DECA program over the last couple of years. I would anticipate FCCLA getting some dates in. I would also anticipate HOSA getting some dates in, our occupational health group. That also is under new leadership with Alex Betcher and Dustin Baldessari leading that group. So again, lots of new leadership, kind of learning the ropes, but a lot of the same trips that we've taken in the past, and we're really proud of the opportunities that we've been able to provide our kids. Not only are they able to compete with students from different areas of the country and state, but also they're getting a great learning experience. And I think it's also a great experience getting out of town to different places and experiencing that as well. So I'm just looking for approval on these trips. And like I said, I would anticipate in the future having just a few more from a couple of our different groups as more information comes along.
I've got a couple of questions.
Sure.
On that. So what are like the transportation costs usually like? Does the bus drive up there, stay there, come back?
So we typically cover, I'll give you an example, like with our athletic trips, we cover the cost of like a yellow bus. If they are overnight, the club or that group picks up the cost of the driver getting a hotel, hotel stay and those things. If a club, for instance, take the wrestling trip, if they choose to take a coach bus, they pick up the difference of whatever, we cover the yellow bus, they pick up the difference, which is pretty standard across most of the schools that we see and compare ourselves to. Transportation costs do vary based on the mileage of the trip, but I will also say we've found some very nice costs. So depending on where we can get a bus from, that also depends, as different bus barns, for lack of a better term, have slightly different rates. My assistant, Austin Keach, really works hard at that, and we're always looking to be as efficient with our dollars as we possibly can. We're not trying to just go out and send every trip on a coach bus, for instance. We try to be very mindful of our costs. This year, we don't have anything going too far out of state. It's pretty much staying Wisconsin and then neighboring states like Iowa.
I noticed one other thing too, like the athletic budget pretty much picked up the basketball trip, the wrestling trip, but then I looked at the choir trip to Eau Claire, and the students get to pay for that. Why is that different?
Well, I would say that the wrestling budget's probably going to be taking vans, so that saves costs there. I would anticipate boys basketball having a take and return policy. So those costs are a little bit more mitigated. Basically, it comes down to past practice and what's done. Music will usually take a van. We're not talking about a roster of 20. We're usually talking about a roster of 6. I also know in working with Mr. Lefebvre, for instance, that a lot of those parents drove with their students, so there's been additional costs there that have been saved. I do know with music, and it's something that Mark and I talk about a lot, his numbers vary a lot more greatly than, say, our teams, for whatever reason. So that is something we have, and Mr. Cashman and I have worked on different things. So for instance, when our music department went up to their state solo ensemble, they took a bus, and we were paying for that. That's not on here yet, but we do what we can for the best of our kids.
Is the music budget smaller than the sports budget? Is that part of it?
Transportation is a whole different budget, so it's separate. We don't delineate athletic transportation versus club or
Just transportation.
organization. It's just transportation.
Can I just ask a quick question? There were 2 trips from DECA to Orlando. Are those 2 separate events? Is that an either or? The descriptions are different, so.
So one is on January 28th.
One's January, one's April, yeah, on the last
And
page.
then one is April, so those would be two different trips.
Two separate trips?
Yeah. And again, like the one at the end of the year, I think they had one student. Sammy George went a couple years ago.
Okay.
A lot of times, that's not mandatory, so, it's a great opportunity, but certainly if the student wasn't able to make it for whatever reason, that's a choice.
So really, by putting it on here, it's not a guarantee that someone's going, it's just opening the doors so the students have the opportunity.
Correct.
To participate in that event.
It's getting the green light so that we can plan ahead, because we like to plan. We don't want to rush here the month before and say, oh, by the way, this is coming up. So just trying to get the green light so we can start planning for that.
Thank you.
Mr. Gerber, just a clarifying piece, on the FCCLA and the HOSA trips, typically are those competition-based?
Yeah.
Or is that a leadership and competition, they kind of feather those together?
They are. I mean, they're not just, we can't think of these like a sporting trip where it's just straight competition. The great thing is it's an opportunity to blend with other schools, other leaders. There's a learning component, like I mentioned, with some of them, as well as a competition as well.
I move for approval of the high school overnight field trip request as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second then to approve the high school overnight trip request as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign. All right.
Thank you.
Then we have high school co-op renewals.
I'll just stay up here.
It'd be weird if you left and came right back.
Well, I could,
Clarifying.
So I have 3 co-ops for renewal, and they are considered renewals, even though we're adjusting some of our teams. The WI continues to reflect and adjust how they handle this, so I'll keep it real simple. We are, for this fall, renewing our co-op with girls swim. Currently, Randolph, Waupun, and Wayland Academy participate in our girls swim program, which actually is competing right now over at the Dodge County YMCA against Fort Atkinson. And so I'll be popping over there as soon as we're done here. We will be adding Columbus and Horicon. That's what we're looking for. Again, this is to provide more opportunities for all of our kids and, yes, other schools. Frankly, we're in a build mode for both of our swim programs. And I don't need to remind the board where we were at 3 years ago or 2 years ago with it. So we're still building, and we still need help. Swim is a sport where if we don't have numbers, it's hard to compete in all the events. If you can't compete in all the events, then you're going to really struggle. So we're really trying to get to a number where we can fill those relays and individual events. So Columbus and Horicon have reached out. Horicon is added currently with us with our boys swim, so for them it's a gender equity piece. Columbus is adding because they have kids that are swimming in our youth program, so they are going to be able to add kids right away. So what I'm asking for is a renewal of the girls swim co-op for the 25, 26, 26, 27, and all that information is laid out there. Boys swim, we're currently co-opted with Horicon. We'd be adding Columbus for the same reasons we're adding Columbus to the girls. They have boys, and they would have wanted to join for this year. They just asked too late after the deadline. So we have a really great partnership with Columbus High School. We co-op with them in a number of different things, and Jay has been great to work with, as is Horicon. Michael Bowden has been awesome to work with, and we've been getting kids in a number of sports. So boys swim, again, this will be their first year coming back to Beaver Dam. So we're trying to provide them as many opportunities as we can. This year it'll just be Horicon, but we're hoping for the year after to add Columbus in. And then the final one is boys hockey. Boys hockey, we built a co-op a couple years ago, and I would say it was tremendously successful. After 2 years of a co-op, we had 2 conference championships to show for. Now, I can't put that on Coach Kraft every year, but it certainly helped us to maintain the program. I think most people know that The events of a few years ago have really hurt numbers, and so providing some assistance in numbers while our local youth group continues to build its numbers certainly helps. We are dropping Cambria Friesland. They don't anticipate having any more athletes come through, and Wayland asked to be dropped from that. Scheduling for them, both their schedule of day and then their schedule of what the winter looks like, does not make it easy for them to continue participation. We'll be dropping them next year out of the girls hockey for the same reason. They just can't make practices because of their schedule. So I'm looking for approval on those three co-ops for the 25-26 and 26-27 seasons.
One question. Oh,
Go ahead. No, yeah, go ahead.
I'm assuming that the other schools share costs?
It's done proportionally. So if you have 10 kids out and Beaver Dam have 7, then we cover 70% of the cost and we get 30% back on the others. So that was something that we looked at last year and made sure we were really honest to that. We're upfront with our schools, and they know it. Columbus, for instance, had 2 hockey kids, and their rate was great for them, but it was proportional to the number of kids they had out. So it helps to encourage participation from those other schools, while at the same time, they're not adding a whole program on its own. And it helps us.
So as far as both the swim teams, do we use our facilities for that?
Yeah, so we're at the Y, although one of the benefits to co-oping with Wayland here in the fall is, for instance, when the Y has their shutdown, when they're cleaning the pool for a week, we don't lose that week because we're able to share that facility, so that's been very helpful. And just to give some clarification, Wayland never had a girls program. They were swimming with the boys in the winter, so providing this opportunity has been great for them as well, and then we get to use that facility when the Y is shut down, for instance. Or I know Coach DeMaster had them working on the weekend because our events that we host are on Mondays. So it's an opportunity to get a secondary facility when we need it, but all of our meets and primarily our practices are done at the YMCA, and we're really proud of that partnership.
Is that the same with the hockey team as well?
Hockey teams at the Family Center have a great working relationship with them. I'm really excited, some of the opportunities we have there. For instance, this winter, we're going to have a doubleheader, one of the games with the girls and boys program, so that'll be a hockey night in Beaver Dam.
Nice. So, and then just kind of piggyback off what she said, when these teams are coming, when they're transporting their students to our community, is that part of the cost that we pick that, or is that cost for them and then?
It's a choice that those families
Right.
make. It's something that every school wrestles with a little bit differently. And I don't want to get into the specifics of what every school does, but that's something that each school does a little bit differently. So Horicon may address it a little bit differently than Waupun, for instance, as opposed to Mayville. But those families know kind of ahead of time, like, hey, this is when we practice, and we work on that. I would also say our coaches are very mindful of that. So, for instance, one of the conversations boys hockey had a number of years ago when we added these schools is, do we need to go to an evening practice schedule to better accommodate the kids coming so there's less missed school time, for instance. A lot of these kids are getting parents drive, or some of them have their license. Wayland kids have transportation from those schools, but we're not picking up that cost to bring a kid in, if that's the question. Every school kind of does it a little bit differently.
Very good, thank you.
I'm going to move that we approve the co-op proposals.
Renewals and proposals is as proposed. As for all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. 8.3, we have some, we don't even like talking about this. But we gotta do some snow removal contracts.
Good evening. So as many of you know, our district uses contracted snow removal for most everything except our buildings and ground staff does clear sidewalk at the high school in Prairie View. So that was the work that was put out for bid, which was posted on the website on August 26th and then in the paper on the 31st of August. We also put out communication through email and phone calls out to contractors, and we received one bid back, and that was from Griswold Excavating and Construction, who has been our snow removal contractor for quite some time now. Some things to note is the application of salt and procurement of salt price did not go up. We did see a slight increase in skid loader and end loader cost per hour, but then a decrease in the sidewalk machine use. So with that, we're recommending Griswold Excavating as our snow removal contractor. Any questions?
What's our budget typically for that?
The budget typically for that? Well, it varies based on the snowfall.
Yeah, like last year probably wasn't much, but.
Last year was actually slightly higher. It was $72,657. 2022, it was $65,916, but 22-23 was $116,000.
And
So-
some of that too, even when snowfall amounts are down, if ice is an issue or it's teetering on that, and because of liability, we do tend to spread some salt quite a bit, prices can jump pretty quickly.
Yep.
I make a motion, we accept the bid from Griswold as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second then to approve the snow removal contract to Griswold. Ask for a roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
8.4, what do we got?
All right, so this is the time of year where we typically adopt our borrower for cash flow for our line of credit that we'll utilize throughout the 24-25 school year. So due to the timing of revenues and expenditures throughout our fiscal year, many schools have to borrow for a short period of time just to cover their costs. It's not unique to Beaver Dam. It's pretty typical, and it basically is due to the fact that we get a high amount of revenue at certain times of the year, and then we, dip into our expenditures, and then we have to wait until that next revenue. So there could be a 2 to 3 week window where we don't have enough cash on hand to cover certain things like payroll. So we have the potential to short-term borrow throughout this year. We obtain proposals from local banks, and we select the proposal that's in the best interest of the district. So we've had a $5 million line of credit for several years for 18-19 through 2021. That dropped to $4 million for 21-22. And during that time, the most for 19-20, we borrowed just over $3 million. In 2020 and 2021, we borrowed 2.6, and in 21-22, we borrowed 3.8. However, the last 2 years, we've had a $5 million line of credit again, and we have not had to draw on that line at all, so we have not paid any interest on that line either. So the line's available, but we haven't had to use it. For 24-25, we'll again have a $5 million line of credit. This can provide us with flexibility to ensure that we'll meet our obligations. We sent 3 letters out to banks, local banks, seeking proposals, and we received 1 response from National Exchange Bank and Trust. Last year's proposal was a 6.95% a fixed interest rate with no origination or application fees. And this year's proposal is slightly less in terms of the interest rate. It's 6.75% fixed, also with no origination or application fees. All right, so we appreciate National Exchange Bank and Trust's interest in partnering with us. The recommendation tonight is to choose National Exchange Bank and Trust's fixed rate option. This is an easy transition for us because they are already our primary bank. They carry our general checking account, which is where the majority of our expenditures come out. So it's a very smooth process here. This does require board approval of the resolution authorizing a taxable tax and revenue anticipation promissory note for cash flow purposes in an amount not to exceed $5 million. The next steps, so moving forward, we're going to continue to carefully monitor our cash flow. We'll time our grants out so that we make grant claims as those expenditures come out to try to minimize the amount of loss of cash on our books, and then we'll revisit this again next year. So, are there any questions on this?
Questions? Now, look for a motion.
I make a motion that we authorize the taxable tax and revenue anticipation promissory note for cash flow purposes of the amount not to exceed $5 million from National Exchange Bank.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and I ask for a roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 All right, thank you. Oh, we got you up here next too. 8.5.
Okay, so we had two donations on the board agenda for tonight. The first donation is from Walmart of Beaver Dam, and they have generously donated office chairs, folding chairs, vacuums, and other office and school supplies to the district. This donation will help furnish some of our conference rooms and update some of our teacher desk chairs throughout the district, and school supplies will be distributed throughout the district to help supplement student needs. The second donation came from Jonathan Hill and Grabber Manufacturing out of Wanakee. Jonathan has a student who is the parent of a student at Jefferson Elementary and noticed that our bike rack at Jefferson was full, so he reached out to his employer and they generously donated 2 additional bike racks. I think it's important to note Grabber Manufacturing built the original bike rack at Jefferson during the remodel, so we just added 2 more identical ones to that school. Both parties are making generous donations that exceed the amount of $1,000. So in accordance with board policy, I'm requesting that you approve the receipts of these donations, and in doing so, authorize the administration to use these supplies throughout the district and the bike racks at Jefferson Elementary.
Questions?
No, I'm just really impressed. I mean, I guess just really impressed that Walmart, reached out and asked you what you needed, and that a parent just saw a need and found a way to fill it. I just think that's really going above and beyond. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept these generous gifts to the Beaver Dam Unified School District.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second then to approve the two donations as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, that moves us on to reports to be presented by the Board of Education. Starting out with operations and teaching and learning, who did not meet. We actually are going to meet here next week. So we have no minutes from those two, but we did have a workshop review. I unfortunately was not able to be present during that workshop review, so I asked Mr. Kraus to please give a summary of that workshop.
So the board met with district administrators on August 19th, and to start out the workshop, Mr. definitely explained the goal of the workshop was to focus on the plans and actions the district is committed to and to receive feedback from the board. He explained that the building principals and their guiding coalitions work together in development of their school success plans. The school principals and associate principals share their school success plans with all of us and ask for any feedback that we had with them. They reviewed their goals for English language arts, mathematics, and school climate and culture, including key action steps and plans for progress, monitoring, and reporting. So it was a very good workshop, very interesting. It's really nice to see that we have such dedicated staff and administrators to carry through with all this stuff. And there's a lot of hard work. It was a long night, but a lot of hard work was involved, and there's a lot of excellent information. So I really thank all you guys for your time in doing that. I know it was not an easy task, so.
It was a long day too, wasn't it, the first day of school that we met?
Yes.
It was a long day.
Yes. So I don't know if anyone else wants to add to that, but that's just a really quick overview in a nutshell, I guess.
Yeah, I'll echo that. Thank you for the presentation. I thought it was a great night. Got some questions answered, and looking forward to this year. So appreciate the vision that y'all presented.
I do think Mr. Wilson should go first next year, because every year he's at the end of the line all the time. We got to flip it around a little bit, mix it up, draw straws or something. I don't know.
Any other comments from any other board members?
I agree with the comments that have been made. The presentations from all of the principals and assistant principals were great, and we had questions that came from the board and were answered well. So thank you very much for everybody.
All right. With that, we'll move on to 9.4, board engagement. Opportunity for board members to share out engagement opportunities that they were involved with since our last meeting. With that, I'd open it up to the board.
Well, I participated in the last Wellness Committee meeting, and you all should have a calendar that the Wellness Committee has put together, which I think they did a great job. And you'll be able to find when our board meetings are and things like that on here, and different kind. And if you go walking, you can play bingo. So, you know, it's different kinds of stuff. And we handled the printing here. And so we tried to save money, but have people an opportunity to, and the pictures here were all from different people in the teachers and staff and, you know, other staff members. So they submitted them to the Wellness Committee for choice. So I think they did a great job.
I participated, I went and attended the open house at the middle school. I think that was not last Saturday, Saturday before. I know my days are all mixed up. So I did do that. So we had quite a few people that went through. So, and it was a really good turnout, I thought. And big thanks to all the staff that were there too, and on Saturday on their own time too. That's greatly appreciated. I also participated in the BDUSD Scholarship Foundation golf outing. That was a good time, good intermingling with our peers and our community leaders, and was a little sore that night and the next morning, and I had no golf club mishaps this year, so it was good.
Mary and I also went to the middle school. We went to the one that was on a weeknight, and I think it goes to show that people are really getting their questions answered, because we didn't have a lot of people there, but there are a couple more opportunities coming up on September 19th at Washington Elementary at 7 o'clock in the evening, and October 9th at the middle school. I'm sorry, that's at the Watermark. Community information session, October 9th at noon. So there's a couple more opportunities coming up for community questions and a tour of Washington Elementary. And those are on the website. But I think that the presentations have been excellent, and people are really getting their questions answered. So been happy to be a part of that. Also, it feels like forever ago, but it wasn't. We had the welcome the new staff. Then we had the beginning of the school year. So it went awesome. It was a really nice day, and I was very impressed with the staff participation in the welcome back. They had some interesting things to say. It was awesome. High energy, everybody was happy to be back. It was a great way to start the school year.
And I also was at the Welcome Back Day. Lot of good energy. I really loved the Chris Farley impression. But, we went to the football game last Friday. They played very well. It was fun to watch. And then the marching band, that was their first performance, so that was fun to watch as well.
Anybody else?
One more thing that I wanted to mention is, that, Tom Heffern reminded me that the Beaver Dam Education Fund process has started, and this year we're hoping to raise between $12,000 and $15,000 to be able to answer some of those added things that teachers need in their classroom. And that's what the Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation Education Fund does. And so Tom is always thinking of the schools, so I have to make sure I get the word out. So watch for that, and if you care to donate, we're happy to take your money.
I had an opportunity to go to the opening night football game. I know the free brats went over well, so appreciate that. We got a chance to say hi to a lot of people walking in, hand them out some business cards regarding the upcoming referendum, so that was a lot of good context there. I went to another football game that I guess I'm not really supposed to talk about, but I'll just say it was pretty exhilarating. And we had the golf outing, which was another great day, had great weather for that. And I guess the only thing is School of the Month starting up. I'm looking forward to getting in all the buildings again this year.
Mr. Wilson does go first for that.
All right, with that, open up for recognitions.
We had a number of FFA students at the Second Harvest Mobile Food Pantry again on Saturday morning. It's always impressive. They get up bright and early, and they are helping to stage food for the patrons that come in and get food for their families. So way to go, FFA kids.
I mean, I'll just take a minute to recognize, excuse me, Walmart again, and the parent at Jefferson. When I read that, that put a huge smile on my face, and just from what you said, that's really, really neat. So, big shout out to those folks.
All right, I have just a few. So in general, I want to continue to thank community members that are participating in informational sessions or calling people and asking questions and otherwise being engaged and making sure they have the most accurate information possible as it relates to the upcoming referendum. I want to recognize our principals, teachers, and staff for a great start to the school year, really at all levels, at all schools. So that's not a light lift, and really impressed with the focus and the energy. And then also, I know our community is doing a great job, but on behalf of the district, I want to recognize Bill McCollum as well, and all the work that he did for our community. And believe it or not, he's somebody who was always asking when I had the chance to speak with him about our schools and how things were going, and really very positive about educators in our community, and really willing to help out too, as much as he could in his position. So he will definitely be missed.
All right. Anybody else? All right. With that, we'll move on to district policy and guidelines. And we'll start with 10.1.
All right, there are a couple resignations for your consideration tonight.
I move the board approve the resignations as presented.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second then to approve the resignations as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign. Okay.
There are a few leaves of absence for your consideration tonight.
I move the board approve the leaves of absence as presented.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second then to approve the leaves of absence as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign.
For appointments, we have Christy Ely, music teacher at the middle school as a long-term sub from August 22nd. It says on here September 30th, but as of just an hour or two ago, she has agreed to stay through the term, so that would actually be November 4th. Amy Friedel, English teacher at the high school, limited term employment for first semester. And then the rest are all FTE. That would be Kurt Breyer, science teacher at the high school. Brandy Brokowski Duro, a substitute teacher, I'm sorry, that one is an LTE, at the middle school. Todd Karsten, science teacher at the middle school. Jennifer Monthi, English language arts teacher at the high school. Mike Price, special education teacher at the middle school. And Amber Sandstrom, physical education teacher at Prairie View Elementary School.
I move the board approve the appointments as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second then to approve the appointments as presented, and I ask for a roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moves us on to board policy update, final reading.
All right, this evening I present to you for final reading of the fall slate of policy updates for your consideration of approval. 3 new policies, Policy 2230, Curriculum Course Guides, Policy 2370, Educational Outcomes, provided by the district, Policy 5610.03, Alternatives to Expulsion and Reentry Plans, as well as 30 revisions, and 3 rescinded policies.
I know there were some questions that were asked on some of the policies, and there were some answers provided. Any other questions or discussion? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion.
I make a motion, we accept the policy revisions as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second then to approve the board policy updates as a final reading. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign. All right, takes us on to payment of claims.
I move for payment and claims in the amount of $3,773,999. I said that right. Let me start again. $3,773,999. Forgot the thousand.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second then to approve payment of claims. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 All right, nice expedient meeting. Look for a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
All right, motion and a second for adjournment. All in favor, say